Hail! I'm the Skald, and welcome to yet another one of my custom RPG systems, and how to create a character and a game in that system. It's called Journey because, well, that's the working title, because I can't find any other RPGs called Journey, which is something that seems weird to me, and something that I've almost certainly missed one, So if you do know of one, let me know, but that's the kind of working title, because it's a setting agnostic system and a genre agnostic system. You can run anything in this. It's designed to be very simple. You can use a 3x5 card to hold all your characters' information, and it's kind of meant to be a more narrative based system, but there are still combat rules and everything, so it can go both ways. So I will switch over to the screen so you can see what I have set up. So we have this is the kind of rules as they currently are. It's about 3 pages, but obviously there's a lot more that needs to go into it. This is just the kind of core rules, and some character sheets, which I have 4 I think set up, or 5 or whatever, so that I can kind of make several characters and sort of show you the different ways you can go about it. So firstly, you have to do this step, which I call creating a game. You have to select a genre and a style for the game. This can either be done by the GM, before he creates the game, either through an interest post or whatever, or through everyone kind of coming together and deciding, right, we want to play a Western or something like that. So you can really sort of go either way with that. Then you make characters, figure out how they fit into the world, and then the GM will kind of incorporate their goals, the story elements, and try and weave them together into a cohesive narrative. So mechanically, here's how to create a character, which is very, very quick. So firstly, there is sort of a step before this, is you want to figure out what kind of character you want to play. So we'll say for this first one, we're just going to do a fantasy game. Kind of keep it simple, something that everyone knows, everyone understands. So I want to play a massive kind of barbarian type guy. So we'll call him Olgar Grimsborn, which is a name I had sort of figured out. Now allocate this attribute points. So all the skills start at -2, and there's no difference between points and modifiers. The point is the score is the modifier. So all skills are -2. So everything you roll at -2. But you have 8 points that you can allocate between them to kind of increase your skills and make yourself not so terrible. So basically, let's go through this. So we'll put 1 point, or we'll put 4 points into brawn. So the maximum you can have is +4, but we only have 8 points. So we'll use half of them. That's not wide enough. We'll use half of them in our brawn because we want to be super strong. Dexterity, we want to be fairly quick, so we'll put 2 points in that. Intellect, we will say we'll put 1 point in, and we have 1 point left, so we'll put that in perception. So now, as you can see, I'll be rolling with a +2, not +4. Nice one. With a +2 in brawn to begin with, a +0 in dexterity, -1 intellect, -1 perception. And this is a D10 system, so the modifiers provide a heavier bonus than they will with the D20. So you can kind of see that it's designed to make your characters have very powerful sort of thing. Like in brawn, if this is D20, you'd be rolling +4, which is pretty good. but he'd be rolling at -2 for intellect and perception, which is really bad. So you can kind of see how it cancels out. Next is our wound limit. So this is kind of the key part of the system, which is to say there's no hit points. Instead you have a wound limit. So there's no rolling damage either. So when you get hit, or when you make an attack, you roll to hit. If you hit, then you deal 1 wound. And that's it. And so it's really simple and quick. You're doing about half as much rolling. So you begin with a standard wound limit of 5, and then add your brawn. So we actually have a massive wound limit of 7. Whereas if you're like a small character, or a weakling, you may even have like a minus and only have a wound limit of 3. So it can be very deadly, because that means that someone in the needs to hit you 3 times before you're dead. So that obviously means that our current wounds are 0. Now onto the kind of the fluff side of the character, which is obviously the more interesting side of the character than just the stats. So we have my description for Olga is it's enormous bulging muscles, so that's just the physical description and a little bit about his character, just very generic, so that you just kind of have this basic understanding. Most of the time, writing down your entire sort of backstory really helps you with the description, that kind of thing. But having just a very kind of simple, small start is a really good way to go, because then you kind of can build off of it without impeding yourself too much. So his number 1 fear. Every character has to have a fear. This could be, something like spiders, or this could be a fear of losing a treasured item, or a fear of appearing weak to those he cares about. So anytime he's sort of made to feel weak, it might be, it might affect him more than that, and the GM can really play with that. His trait is that he angers at the slightest insult or prompt. So he, very quick to anger, furious, grumpy man. And his goal is fairly simple. It's just he wants revenge for someone who ruined his father's business. Which I'd speak with the GM about, and I'd say, right, I want this person, the information I have about them, maybe I don't know exactly who it is, or maybe I do, but, I want to find them, and then the GM can run with that and sort of weave it into the story. Okay, here's another kind of more unique part about the system, is the items. Each character has 5 items, but there's no item list. The way this works is the items are basically ones that would make sense in the setting and for your character to have. So you select 5 items of choice. You can see there's some examples in the middle there that you want to have that kind of make sense. And once you've selected your items, speak to your GM, show them what you have, and the GM might be like, well, you wouldn't necessarily have a healing potion because they're super rare in the setting, so maybe change that for a medicinal herb, or maybe change that to something else completely, but we'll find healing items later, that sort of thing. So I went very simple for Olga. He has a great axe, hide armor, rope, dagger and hand. Okay. And oh, I actually forgot to write down. Let me just shorten it. Yeah. So effects is also another kind of aspect, which is sort of if you reach your wound limit, you go unconscious, and when you do so, you will gain an effect, a lasting effect, which could be a scar or kind of a lingering injury type thing, but it could also be, you know, post-traumatic stress disorder or something like that, where it's more kind of character based. So we have attack bonus here and defense, and these are sort of things that you know, are very, very simple to calculate and very, very simple overall, but are sort of centerpiece to the system. So melee attacks use your brawn score, ranged attacks use dexterity. Yeah, classic. So for us, our attack bonus is just +2, and then should we, you know, get some kind of training in great axe, or maybe when we level up, we might get a bonus to our great axe. You know, it can sort of change. Defense value is equal to 5 plus your dexterity score plus any armor that is accepted by the GM. So this is again what it falls down to is you might be wearing hide armor and have a shield, and your GM will okay, I'll give you +1 for each of those. Or you may be wearing full plate, and your GM might say, okay, well if you have full plate, then +2, but full plate's going to cost you full plate's going to count as 2 items because it's so bulky. So, you know, and so expensive. So it's really sort of up to the GM's decision to kind of sculpt your items and that kind of thing. So for us, it'll be 5. Alright, so we're back. Firstly, we'll just quickly run through these because it's, you know, very quick. We have Roy Van Oren, sort of Han Solo type, handsome, quick-witted scoundrel, a fear of small spaces and snakes. Tries to talk his way out of everything. He's sort of the face, the front man, and is kind of always trying to, you know, convince people to do what he wants, and, you know, never stands up to his problems. I mean, he's pretty much a carbon copy of Han Solo. We have Bill Williams from the Wild West, the rootinest, tootinest cowboy ever. Sort of thinks he's this incredible sort of. He's the kind of person where he tries to emulate, you know, what he thinks is cool and sort of what he thinks cowboys should be, and you know, doesn't always go well for him. He's afraid of heights and spiders. Shoot first, go to prison, because he's not very intelligent. Well, he's intelligent, but he's, you know, he's likely to sort of act before he thinks, and ends up, you know, in prison a fair amount. He just wants to settle down with his family though, or with a family at some point though. And finally, Philip Whitaker, a foppish, cowardly art professor with awful physical stats. He's just terrible at everything. He's afraid of everything, but he speaks down to those he deems unintelligent. And there's a piece of art that was stolen from his museum, and he wants it back. So you can see, you can whip up characters. I did those in 8 minutes total. And I mean, I wasn't, you know, going that in depth, and they're very basic, but you can whip up characters for this game so quickly, and you can just run anything so fast. So I'll quickly run through some of the kind of key rules now that we have these characters, and then I'll end it there. So you roll a d10, you add your modifier, and you roll against the defense of the target you're attempting to hit, or the difficulty rating set by the GM. Initiative. Initiative. At the beginning of combat, roll a d10, whoever rolled highest goes first. There's no modifiers on that, because in real life, you know, whoever acts first is just whoever's brain is in the right place at the right time, and may not necessarily mean you know, a person who can move their hands faster has the initiative to go first. That never really made sense to me, so I changed it. Attacking and damage. You roll a d10 plus your attack modifier. If you beat the defense of your target, then you deal 1 wound. That's it. Yeah, so when you hit your wound limit, you are said to be at critical wounds. You fall unconscious, and each turn you roll a d10. If you roll a 1, you fail the save, and you just die. If you roll anything but a 1, you pass the save, and you remain in the same state, and if you roll a 10, you stabilize. Healing. So, resting for 8 hours causes you to lose a wound or regenerate, and resting for a week will heal you completely apart from your lasting conditions. And then, you know, you can have other medical items to help remove wounds. Magic, right. This is the kind of one of the key things that I think is going to sort of confuse some people and maybe rub some people up the wrong way, but I think sort of in practice, I think I've used a similar system before, and I think this is this can be really good if you implement it correctly and the players understand what is required. So, obviously not all games are going to have magic in them, but if you do, this is the way it works. Obviously, if you don't like this, you could just take and rework, you know, some classic spells from other RPGs and that sort of thing. But this is how we have it set out here. So, step 1 is the player states the desired effect of their magic. So I have there, I want to open the door, I want to cause damage to something, I want to slow that man's fall, I want to destroy this object, I want to move quicker, you know, some kind of magical effect that they want to happen. The GM then thinks, okay, based on this character's level and, you know, their skill, would they be able to achieve it? So, you know, a level 1 character saying, I want to destroy that entire building, the GM will probably say, no, you can't destroy an entire building, you're not powerful enough. But if they say, I want to undo that lock, that's more feasible. So then the GM will set a difficulty. So they'll say, okay, you want to undo the lock, right, well, that would be pretty easy, so I'll give it a difficulty of 6. Or you want to hit that robot. Yeah, that's fine. You could probably do that, and so if you're just trying to make a magical attack, you roll versus the defense, obviously. But if it's something like I want to destroy that building, okay, and the GM thinks you can do it, but you're probably at, you know, maybe you're level 3 and the building's not too big, and the GM's like, okay, you could probably do it, but it's also, if you do it, it's also going to have a physical strain on you because you are because your magic isn't quite powerful enough to get there, so it's sort of taking some energy from your body, so there may be adverse effects. If you accept that, you can cast a spell. So the players are, okay, you know, this is a kind of Hail Mary, so they cast the spell, they take 2 wounds, and they may permanently have their stats reduced or something, and it can sort of affect them, and that's it. The key things to remember with this is that, firstly, the GM's word is final, and if haggling or arguing or any kind is not allowed, because that will just slow down the game indefinitely. So that, you know, the spell should kind of be like, I want to open that door. Okay, that's fine. Difficulty 6, go. There shouldn't be, well, surely it's a 5 because that's not allowed. What the GM says goes. And so that's the magic system. And then leveling up, you get an extra point, an extra wound level, and an extra point to spend on an attribute, and that's it. So the game kind of leaves itself open, and it suggests that you maybe find some magical items or some cool gear to use to kind of supplement your character's sort of growth. And also, these rules are completely, you know, open to hacking, and they're sort of very light, so that you can kind of add in anything you want to add in when you're on. So, I think that's it. If you enjoyed this, and you're watching this via Facebook, then I really hope that you sign on to a playtest, help me kind of figure out some of the kinks and work out how the system feels. Let me know in the description what you think of it, and thanks for watching. I'm the Scald, and I hope you enjoyed this video.